All right, guys, I am back and I'm really excited today because you received a um, meal plan guide or a new nutrition plan. It's called the Made Diet, and it is by Melissa McAllister. She's a coach way up in the business. And so when I came upon this approach to eating, I was really excited about it. First of all, she has like older children and she's really hot. And second of all, it follows the way of eating of non-inflammatory foods. It helps get you into that fat burning mode, but it's not as strict as a keto diet. And for me personally, let me just tell you this, that I don't believe in being grouped into a keto diet. I don't believe in how restrictive it is. And so this works for me. Now, I've changed my numbers up a little bit, and you will have to play around with it because you are not the same as your neighbor or your friend Joe Schmo. Okay, so remember that this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Like every diet tries to get you into one size, and that's not the case here. So I'm going to talk to you more about the macros that this plan has and what that really means, right? So if you have been following me or doing anything with me, I have been using the 21-day fix containers for a really long time. And I have to say they're pretty on point, although my biggest problem with those was the fat content. You got very little amounts of fat. And so I would disagree with that just a little bit now. So now we're going to start counting macros. And I say we are going to start. This is another option for you, another tool in your tool belt, okay? So you don't have to do any of this. I'm trying to just give you information and what I've been doing and let you decide for yourself, okay? So first things first, what are macros? Why are we counting them, right? So macronutrients are calories. And the premise for a long time was calories in, calories out. And what I mean by that is you would lose weight if there was a deficit between the amount of calories you were eating versus the amount of calories you were burning. Now, the underlying assumption was that all calories were made and created equally. And this is not true. Let's be honest. We know that eating, a certain amount of calories on an Oreo is not the same thing as eating a certain amount of calories as a sweet potato. They're just not the same thing. And so we finally have wisened up and we realize that we need to count macros instead of calories. So macros are really just the big parts of your diet. So you've got macros are your fats, they're your proteins, and they're your carbs. And let me tell you, when I first started this, I was so overwhelmed with how to count them, how to get them in the right spots every day. So I'm here to guide you and help break that all down for you, easy peasy. I am going to first very quickly share my screen with you. And the first thing that you want to do is find out how many macros you need to consume every single day. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys can see my screen. All right. So on page 42 of your Made Diet Plan, there is a calorie guide and food sources provided for you. Now this is a 1, 2, 3 step, well, I guess 4-step process, okay? All right, so this is all broken down for you very, very easily. You're gonna go to step 1. you're going to figure out your calories. Step 2, protein intake. Step 3, carbs. Step 4, fat. Okay? And remember, this is a higher fat way of eating. And so this is, remember that this is healthy fat, okay? So, so don't be scared off. Don't be scared off by that, because your brain and your body is going to be running off fat instead of glucose with this, okay? It even teaches you how to differentiate different protein sources, fat sources, and carb sources, okay? And it even says carb sources. If you want to look like a Greek god or goddess, then most of your carbs need to come from Shakeology and very nutrient-dense vegetables. I would also agree with this, and I want to say that I believe that most of our carbs should come from vegetables. There's plenty in there for our brain to use and our body to use with that small amount. So I wanted to show you that page, and I'm also going to show you what I did. And this is so not scientific, but I did actually write mine down on a piece of paper. And so I broke down my carbs, my fat, and my calories. And once I did, I learned which brackets that I was in. And for me personally, I mess with my ratios just a little bit. Like I said, this works best for me, excuse me, and it might not work right for you, and you might have to work up to that. So remember to do your calculations first, and then you can adjust if you need to. But the carbs were a little too high for me for this diet, so I brought them down to 15%. Protein is 20%, and my fats are about 65%. With this, I can still get my Shakeology, which has all my probiotics, prebiotics, my, vitamins, minerals, all of that stuff to help protect my gut against these inflammatory foods that we come in contact with. And I'm still able to get into fat burning modes through intermittent fasting, through carb cycling, which we will talk about later, and through these other ways of eating, this higher fat, lower carb way of eating, which we keep talking about, right? So now it's time to put that in action. If you're at a standstill, if you feel like you're walking around in chronic inflammation, adopt this for a while. Try it out for a month. See how good you feel. And I think you're going to feel amazing, just like I have. So that's all I had for you today, is I want to see your calculations, your May diet calculations. So you remember, you break down those steps and you figure it all out. And I want you to take a picture of your calculations. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you and teach you super easy way to keep up with that every single day. It's going to blow your mind, and it's going to change everything for you. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, but today, get your counts, get your percentages, and let's get ready to rock and roll it tomorrow, okay? Bye, guys.